Oh, bicycle repairman, how can I ever repay you?
What's up guys, Danielle here, neutralsupport.net. So the good news is you made it past my scrutinizing whether you're ready to become a mobile business, and maybe you said yes. So making a mobile bicycle business part 2. Who are your customers?
Do you know who I am?
So being a mobile bike business has its benefits, so you're very flexible. You can basically choose to do whatever you want to do, within reason, but basically whatever you want to do. So a lot of people start out thinking, I'm going to service individuals' bicycles. I'd say that that's the most traditional mobile bike shop idea. I'm going to drive to your house or to your work. I'm going to fix your bike for you. I'm going to give it back to you then so that it's more convenient, it's faster, all the good things with mobile businesses. I'll say that's a very valuable part of being a mobile bike shop. If you decide to do individual bike repair, that is awesome. There are other things that you can also do. So we're going to cover all of the different customer options. Probably not even all. There's probably more than this list, but just give you a rundown to get you thinking about who could be your potential customers in your area. So when we're talking about individuals could be people calling you or setting up appointments. There's lots of good online appointment setting softwares, but people setting appointments for you to come to their house or work to work on their bike or their bikes and telling you what's wrong with them ahead of time, hopefully, or maybe not. But that has a set schedule. You set a time, you show up, you do the work, you leave, you go to another place, you do the work. So you can also work on individuals' bikes in a non-scheduled environment. There are plenty of mobile operators that have had success in certain areas like DC and other places, metropolitan, where they can actually set up in a public area, in a singular spot, where there's lots of bike traffic that can come to them when they need something, or somebody knows you advertise you're going there ahead of time, you pop up in an area, people actually come to you. You don't necessarily schedule them ahead of time, you don't know they're coming, but that gives you some flexibility to be there when people have a flat tire, things like that. If you have a high traffic area, setting up in a public space like that can be awesome. It gets you money a little bit at a time usually. You're not normally doing big repairs there, so things like fully internally routing cabling, probably not something that you do at a trailhead. But flat tires, shifting adjustments, brake adjustments, things like that, you will be key in that spot. So if you have access to a trail system like that that's heavily trafficked many days, that would be awesome. You could actually set up your business, pop up a tent, go to town. There's a type of individual interaction that I'm always asked for as a mobile business, but I've never done, and I haven't met anybody who actually does this, but people seem to think that if you're a mobile bike repair business, that you're also more like an ambulance. So there's some amount of understanding that individual interactions might be somebody calling you when they're stuck somewhere and you coming to save them. I have thought through that model a few times. It might actually work wherever you are. I couldn't think of a way to make it work, and I don't think the volume of people in peril on their bikes is high enough to make a model like that work, but I might be wrong. So if somebody's doing it out there, please comment below so that we can benefit from your knowledge. There aren't as many people riding bikes that need something like a bike ambulance, maybe regularly enough to justify the cost. If you do something like that, it might be in addition to your other services, and it probably would involve something like a premium service fee or something like that, but I don't think that can be the only way your mobile bike shop operates, but could be an additional thing. Something that's gotten a little bit critical in the last handful of years is last mile fulfillment. As we're moving away from just individuals as your customers, the strategic positioning of your business as a company that assembles and delivers new bikes from direct to consumer companies is also an option. So using a fulfillment software like Beeline, doing last mile fulfillment for direct to consumer assemblies actually seems like it can be a source of good money if you're in an area that needs that. There are other companies that also need last mile, so you could get into an agreement with Diamondback, other brands like that. They actually can use mobile operators instead of having their own employees, especially in areas where they don't have a designated dealer or a shop presence. A lot of companies are trying not to be in shops. No matter how you feel about that, if you're positioning yourself as a mobile bike company now, it could be a good thing for you. So moving up, you could set up your business to function as repair days in communities. So caveat, I did most of the things that I'm listing here as a mobile business, so this isn't exclusive. You don't have to pick one of these things and do it. You can do all of them. If you really want to and you want to be successful, you can make your business do just about anything. You're incredibly flexible. Just remember, you're incredibly flexible.
Get over it!
So certain communities are very, very willing to have bike repair happen at their clubhouse or in their community on a regular basis. So as an example, I set up 9 years ago to do community bike repair in a over 55 community that has thousands of people in it, not too far from where I am. Once a month, April through August, I would go there. I still do this. I've been doing it this whole time. Once a month, I go there, set up at their clubhouse. The clubhouse and the community advertises ahead of time. The people know you're coming. It ends up being very lucrative, so it's worth going. I make as much there as I do in my shop sometimes. It just makes sense. That way all the bikes come to you. One hurdle with mobile businesses is you have to have a minimum cost to show up at somebody's house. Not everybody has a problem that they feel like justifies the minimum cost. So when you set up a community repair day, the people that maybe have a flat tire or just a small brake adjustment will come to you, let you do the work, and then they'll leave. So you don't have to necessarily charge them a whole bunch and a service call and all that stuff and make you feel kind of rotten about the $100 tube you just changed. Instead, you make numerous small repairs in one day, make up for the bulk of the time. You don't have to drive around, spend the gas, all kinds of things. Really beneficial, and you get a name for yourself. So not only am I well known in that community as a bike mechanic, and they know I'm coming and they come to the repair day, but also when they had a problem and I wasn't near a repair day, they would just make an appointment. So it builds community, it builds your reputation. People really like it when you show up the first time. If they like you, they continue to use you even outside of those repair days. So that kind of morphs into another opportunity to service individual bikes at individuals' houses through the community repair days. So going from communities, we'll go over to corporations. There are plenty of corporations that have incentives for their employees to get their bikes fixed or incentives for their employees to exercise. That manifests in a few different ways. So corporations will sometimes want to pay to have you come as a bicycle mechanic and set up at their building for their employees. I actually had this with, probably can't say that. I had this with a big company nearby where I would go to the company to do bike repair. I've had this with a few corporations. Some of them will want to pay you a bulk amount to come do work for their employees. That's fine, just make sure that you negotiate the rates ahead of time. I actually put a corporation's plan on my website so that I predetermined the pricing, and when corporations were looking at the website, they could actually find the pricing themselves. So that let them feel more comfortable asking and gave them a good idea of budget. I will say most corporations have a huge budget, so if you put the pricing up front, it actually helps you because they don't feel like they're spending almost any money. But if you don't have pricing, the general assumption in my experience is that what you're doing is going to be incredibly expensive, and their idea of expensive is usually much higher than what it would take to get you there for an employee repair day. Other corporations and companies prefer to organize for you to come, similar to the community repair. They organize for you to come to the business, but the employees actually pay for the work. That's fine too. Organize it more like a community repair day. Make sure that you get people signed up so that it's worth your time. Charge accordingly. If the corporation wants to make some deal with you, the benefit is it's your business. You can do whatever you want. You can make it so that the corporation pays you a fee and then the employees get some kind of discount. That also works. You just have to make sure that the volume works out so that you're at least making a minimum amount every time that you go there. So make it worth your while, but there can be some very good money if you live by a business park or by any companies that seem to have a focus on making their employees more active. A logical step from corporations is to bike fleets and bike share. So we work with mostly real estate companies who manage properties in the area. Usually the companies that manage the business parks, where some of these corporations that we were just talking about actually are, the companies that manage the real estate actually have bike fleets available in the form of bike share and sometimes just bike rooms or bike rental. If you can get into that sphere, what you get is a plan with them. So we're under contract with a specific bike share. That is, a real estate company manages a 35 bike fleet for their campus where the businesses are. It's free for the people who work there to rent. They need a maintenance plan. So we have a maintenance schedule with them where we show up every 3 weeks and we do safety checks or quarterly tune-ups or full tune-ups once a year, along with individual repairs as they're reported in the system. That is an incredible agreement. Bike share bikes, generally pretty simple. They also need the work. Like, there's no doubt we're not taking money from them. They definitely need the amount of attention that we give them, but we work on the fleet once every 3 weeks. If you get a handful of those clients once every 3 weeks for one, you could build a huge network of bike share clients where you would just go from bike share to bike share. You make really good money doing that. It's very consistent. You know exactly what parts you need. You don't have to worry so much about inventory. When you're working with individuals, you never know what their bike's going to be. So you have to come prepared for just about anything. You can rely on the customers to tell you like what's wrong, but we all know that when you ask a customer what's wrong, like finding the tire size is a big deal. So if you want to know what's actually wrong with the bike, chances are when you get there, it'll be a little different than what you thought. Corporations and bike shares, the bikes are the same every time, so you can come with exactly the tires you need, the cables, all the good stuff. Just really good money if you live in an area where that makes sense. Not everybody lives near business parks or suburbs that have this kind of situation, but it is a very good place to look. You can get some really good bike fleets at apartment complexes also, and generally speaking, apartment complexes are managed by, you guessed it, real estate companies. So these companies will manage the apartment that you're working at, and it will have bikes that are in, maybe we have one that's in a bike room. So there's a dozen bikes in a room. Residents in the apartment complex can check them out. We service that fleet, but that group manages apartments all over our area, all over the nation, but all over our area within a reasonable distance. So you get in with one bike share or one bike room, and you might open up a whole network of apartment complexes that have bikes or companies that provide bikes that just need the maintenance. So it's a very good avenue that sometimes even we've met plenty. I mean, I know mobile operators that started doing this and had to hire people because the work, once you find it, it's there and it's tangible and it's good money. So worth considering.
Nice. New brake pads.
So by far, I haven't covered every possibility because they're endless. Like I said, you're the most flexible type of business on the planet as a mobile bicycle business. So if you're doing bike repair in a mobile setting, you have lots of options. One of which is more traditional, that is working events. Decide how you're going to charge ahead of time. Then ask for it. That's my only real advice. So there are plenty of for-profit events like Ironman and other races that are put on that are not for charity. When you get into charity events, how do I put this? Charity events don't typically offer to pay you because they think they're giving you the exposure and you're donating your time. I decided early on that I was going to work charity events for free. Not everybody decides that, but as long as you have what you want to get paid set ahead of time, go into it negotiating what you want to get paid. I also worked plenty of for-profit races and other events. I would say, pick your price. Come to the person who, somebody will ask you, hey, could you work this event? And you say, sure, I can work it. Here's my rate. Just give them the rate up front. That amount of straightforward communication will save you so much time. It'll make it so that you never feel like you're getting undercut. You always feel like you're making exactly what you need to make to go, and you're in control of the negotiation. They may come back to you and say, well, I can't give you that much, and that's fine. You can negotiate with them, but starting off the conversation with, I am going to get paid for this, will help you immensely in the long run. You can structure your entire business around events if you want to, or you can do all of the above and just, kill it. Just make tons of money. I will say this is not a get-rich-quick scheme by any means. It is all work. So one thing with bike labor is you are earning every dollar that you do with labor. So if you're not selling things, everything that you make is because you physically did something. It's incredibly satisfying, very enjoyable. If you structure it right, you can really get a good balance in your life doing something you love, which is bicycle mechanics. I don't want to overshadow how enjoyable this is as a job, but I do want to warn you that it is a lot of work when it's the busy season and you're just driving around as much as you can, trying to get as much work as possible done. it can get really hectic. Now, if a lot of you worked in a shop, you already know that, so I'm not telling you anything new. It's super cool. If you structure it right, if you look in the right places, you'll be successful. There's just lots of opportunity out there, and I want to help you find it. So now you know who your custies are, or at least you know where to find them or where to look. I encourage you to look around your area, see what makes sense for what you want to do, see what things you like to do and what you don't. You may not like to be in a corporate setting, that's fine. You choose the work that you want to do. So find your customers, figure out exactly who you want to serve, and that will help in building the type of business that you want to build. So we're going to talk more about actually building the business and all the other cool details in the next part of the series, but here I'm just going to cut this off right now because we're getting kind of long. So if you enjoyed this video or you're finding them helpful, go ahead and like it. You can comment below if you have anything to add, or if you want to start a discussion. I really enjoy the comments, and with this, we may get comments from people who have experiences outside of my own that could also shed some light on how things work for them. Head over to neutralsupport.net, got cool swag, other stuff, helps me keep making these because mobile bike shops didn't really pay my bills. I'm just kidding. I enjoyed being a mobile bike shop, so no worries there. Tune in for the next one of these. I'm going to keep doing this series and hopefully walk us through the whole process. Hope you have a good day.